Behavioral change consultant Johanse Audike joins me live on set for yet another impactful conversation, Mental Health Matters Thursday. And today, in keeping with what transpired via the nation's budget, well, we're asking on a personal level, do you, including myself and everybody around, do you have a budget? Do you? Really serious question, Johanse. Good morning.
Morning, Jason, and good morning to the nation.
Well, I mean, I know it's a timely discussion based on what we saw via the minister on his feet for 5 hours. But, yeah, good question. Do you have a budget? I mean, what's when you ask this question and you talk to people around, what's the kind of response you get?
Well, even before, if you have a budget, even question why you want a budget, right? And most times, you have to have some kind of goal. I mean, I think everybody, young, old, it don't matter your race, no matter your socio-economic status, you have some kind of goal in life. You want to accomplish something. So first, understand what is your goal, because before you do anything, you have to know why. Knowledge is power. So the more you understand why you want to do something, the more control you have over it, right? So we establish that. Then you have to understand what you have. Because before you budget something, you have to understand the resources you're working with. Now, resources is not only money, resources time, resources energy, right? And all of us, we have different kinds of resources. So some people may not have a lot of financial resources to pull from, but you have time, and you want to know exactly how you want to use your time, how you want to use your energy. Now, it's important to know what you have, because sometimes we come from a place that we're not realistic.
Well, I'm not going to talk about that, and I took a note. Look at you. A lot of us, we have, as we say in local terms, a champagne taste, but Moby pocket, Johanse. And that seems to be generally a major hindrance for lots of us as Trinbagonians. We see people stretching their hat, as they say, where your hand can't reach, and you're struggling and fighting to maintain this kind of look and lifestyle, and you want these tokens of success, but really and truly, some people still building, and you just need to build, and eventually it will come.
Exactly.
But you want it now, you want to look good.
Exactly, and you see, Jason, the truth is the truth. You really cannot spend or invest what you don't have. And many of us, even sometimes we spend your salary before you get it. Right? You spend hoping, what is the projection of what the value of the oil would be? You're spending based on that versus what you actually have. When I did some research on even the word budget, right? My Latin not too good, but I think it's bourgeois. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but anyway, it means literally what you have in your bag. And you could only use what you have in your bag versus what you think you might have next week. So even when we're thinking about not only finances, you say, all right, I go in and do X, Y, Z. But the truth is, you know you don't have the time. Even though you fool yourself to say, well, I could spend all this time with my family. I could stay up all night and do this. Instead of knowing, well, I don't really have the time, you know. And then you create this budget sometimes from an unrealistic place because you don't have the resources to do it, and then you end up failing.
From what I'm getting out of the conversation, it seems like a budget is more about managing yourself and expectations as opposed to the actual physical money that's in the bag.
Correct, because I've realized something simple. If you can't manage your emotions, you can't manage money. Right? You could have $1 million, but if you can't manage it, right? Because you know plenty of people win the lotto, and then they don't have the money a year later. So it's not even a matter sometimes of how much money or how much resources you have, but how well you could manage it.
But how do we get the discipline? Because impulse buying is something that many, you get trapped in that particular cycle where you go, especially if money is in hand, month end, you just get paid. And you go somewhere and you see something that you like, and there is, I guess, that chemical reaction. There is something that you feel when you're able to see something you like, swipe your card, get it, and walk out with it in hand. Sometimes you might feel a little way, literally minutes, or it could be a day after that, I need that buy, but there is something that you're drawn towards that literally is almost like It's impulsive.
Right.
And you impulse buy. How do we, with instinct, with budget, manage that, you want to say?
One, so let's go with the actual budget now. When you write down your figures, your real figures, sometimes just write it down and say, wait now, that's what I really have. And when you put the things that you need to invest it in or spend it on, you realize, wait now, when you could see it on paper, it might be in your mind. So if you see an impulse buy, I now only have $100, right? But this thing costs $90. Do I really have that? $10 is enough? So having it first in your mind helps you face reality. That's one. Two is, this might be a little difficult in the moment of impulse, but wait a week. If you understand, would I still need this in a week? And if a week pass and you still need it, then probably it's something you should buy. But if after you tell yourself, all right, I'll give myself a week. It's there, it's on sale, whatever you see, and I could come back a week, then you realize, wait, no, I don't want it anymore. You never needed it in the first place.
We here in the West, I don't know what's the whole perspective in the East. We're talking here, well, Middle East, Asia, that side of the world, but at least on the Western side of things, because of that American influence, that English influence, consumerism is a major thing, especially with online buying. And sometimes your budget could get a serious dent based on you're constantly surfing that net, you're on these platforms for online buying, and there is a certain, again, feeling that people get when they're able to purchase, and it's the whole theater of, the courier bringing the particular package, you're opening the package, it's, you're seeing this thing that you looked on, you was watching just a couple of days ago, it's now in your hand. Walk me through, again, managing all that within the context of your personal budget.
So going back with managing emotions, I realized this one even for my personal self in reflecting when I didn't have a good budget, when I wasn't investing my money wisely. And why? It's because there were internal things going on, sometimes even outside of the money, that I had to learn to manage. So I would say to anyone, doing that work on yourself, personal work, self-development, once you are a better person, it spirals out into everything else, right? And then two, what you just highlight, there's a battle, and I want everybody to know that. They see consumerism and being on the net, and sometimes they say your phone listening to you talk about shoes, and then you start to get little prompts from Amazon for shoes and things like that. Is a battle that we have right now to maintain that control. So if you understand, it's a battle. You're walking around literally everybody trying to sell you something. It will help you understand that it's not just fate. Like somebody say, hey, I really need the shoes, when you really put in search your shoe somewhere. That is not fate or it's serendipitous, versus is a battle there to get your resources, and it's a battle for you to be able to manage it properly, because if you're not living in reality, then you wouldn't even accomplish your goals.
I think it's important, especially for people who now start to work and now come into money. Again, you spoke about the person who wins the lotto. Now, obviously, you can't win the lotto twice. Very highly unlikely, but it's sad if somebody is able to win a big lump sum and then they blow it within a year. But we're talking where there's constant money, you now come into money where you didn't come from that. I'm not saying you come from a background of suffering, but clearly you're now into money, the new professional, getting a nice salary. You think it's important to probably go through a period of bad spend before you could understand good spending? You could splurge a little bit, are you allowed to make these little mistakes in the early years?
To be honest, most of us learn through experience. And sometimes the only way to know what you don't have is to have, and the way to know what to have is to not to have. So I say, in the earlies, now this could be dangerous, and what I'm saying here could be dangerous because sometimes that first bad spend could put you in years of being in debt, or years of trying to find yourself underwater. But even the budget, so it may be a first salary, because this is what I did. I remember when I was 17, 18 and I get my little salary. I remember this is what I think my mom told me. She said, okay, you can save that, but this, you just do whatever you want with that, right? So in that first instance, do whatever you want with a certain portion. Not all. Make sure your basic needs covered, because it's good to feel it, but sometimes feeling to realize, wait now, there's not even enough money for me. So you learn a lesson. Oh, wait, now, there's my hard-earned money. I really want to spend it on this. And then you get a lesson from actual experience.
Yeah, well said. As we wrap things up, I'll let you have the final say on this very interesting topic. Do you have a budget? You have the final say, Yohanse.
Nation, is important to know what your goals are and what your resources are realistically before establishing a budget. Don't make life complicated, because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
Indeed, a very, I would say, timely discussion. Yes, there is the fiscal package for the nation, 2024, 2025. I mean, the minister spoke for 5 hours. But in terms of our personal budget, I think that is one where we have to take control of that. And whether it's 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, you try to work it out. I think having a game plan, and this time, it is of paramount importance. You want to say all the best. Thanks for touching base yet again.
Thanks, Jason.
The Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago and their Law Week is coming up. Full details after the break.